y'all. Welcome back to my channel, Y'all Ain't Praying Broadcast, where we get real about faith, prayer, and walking with God in everyday life. I'm so glad that you're here today. Today we're going to talk about Luke, the 5th chapter, and the 16th verse. I want to give you 3 takeaways from Luke, the 5th chapter, and the 16th verse. But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Now we know this is right after Jesus was finished healing the man with leprosy, and we see that he's going away by himself. So my first takeaway is that intentional withdrawal for spiritual power. Intentional withdrawal for spiritual power. Jesus stepped away from the busyness of ministry to connect with his Heavenly Father. And we too sometimes need to step away from the busyness of our day. Whether it's ministry, whether it's work, whether it's family, we need that opportunity to steal away so that we can regain our spiritual power. We can do this by prayer walking. I don't know if many of you are familiar with prayer walking, and there are a lot of different facets of a prayer walk. But at the most basic level, let's think of it in the sense of walking around your neighborhood or your work campus or wherever you feel most comfortable and just praying. So, looking at this text and seeing that Jesus went away to refresh and replenish, we too can step outside of our routine and focus on God while we're lifting up our sisters and our brothers, while we're lifting up our neighborhoods, while we're lifting up our schools and our families in prayer. Number 2, prayer shapes the atmosphere. Just as Jesus prayed in quiet places, our prayers over our streets, over our homes, over our businesses, invites God's presence into those areas. Prayer walking shifts the spiritual climate, reminding us that communities are not just physical spaces, but they're also spiritual ones. Remember, our prayer shifts things. So once we get to praying over neighborhoods, over businesses, over our families, we are shifting that atmosphere surrounding those places. Prayer is so powerful, and it's when heaven invades earth, as we've discussed in earlier videos. Remember, communication is key. And then number 3, prayer is active. It is active. Jesus modeled a life of prayer for us that fueled his mission. While he was praying with rhythm. He had a rhythm about what he was doing. And when we think about rhythm, we're thinking about how it combines movement with intercession. So when we're walking around these neighborhoods, when we're walking around our businesses, when we're walking around the schools, when we're praying for our families or walking around our house, remember, this is a rhythm. It is a movement regarding like physical movement as well as our intercession. Reminding us that prayer isn't passive, right? Prayer is movement. It's rhythm. And so every step becomes an act of faith. Every step becomes a seed sown of hope. Prayer is active and it's missional. Jesus modeled a life of prayer that fueled his mission. Walking while praying mirrors that same rhythm. Every step becomes an act of faith, sowing seeds of hope and courage, covering our communities, our churches, our businesses, our schools with God's love. So in conclusion, the 3 takeaways again are intentional withdrawal for spiritual power. Prayer shapes our atmosphere. Number 2. And then number 3 is prayer is active and missional. Prayer is active. I love that. Prayer is active. Get up, move around, find a rhythm, and bless the people that you have influence over by interceding for them daily. Thank you so much. I hope you walked away with something great today. You guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Y'all Ain't Praying Broadcast on YouTube. Thank you.